Welcome back, everyone, to Neighbors in the Network. I'm James Pinedo, joined by Jane McEnaney, my co-host. Hey, Jane, how's it going today?
Hey, James. Great to see you.
Great to see you. And we had a wonderful conversation with our very special guest, Laurie White Adams, the Director of Government Affairs and Advocacy at the Pelican Institute. Laurie fell in love with Louisiana when she walked onto LSU's campus in 1988. After gaining valuable experience at the LSU Alumni Association Board of Regents as a legislative assistant in the state Senate, Laurie opened and operated a small business. Then, after selling the business and spending several years as a full-time mother, she joined the staff at St. Luke's Episcopal Day School as Director of Development. She then served as Director of Advancement and Enrollment Management at Parkview Baptist School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, before joining the Pelican team. So with all of that background, she brought just a wonderful perspective about the network and what the network does, the place that it serves in communities. Jane, what really stood out to you about our conversation with Laurie?
I keep thinking about that quote. I'm probably going to butcher it, but something like, 90% of success in life is showing up. And I just feel like everything Laurie has put her heart and mind and effort into, it's all rooted in just this desire to show up and serve her community. And her whole career is a love letter to the state of Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited for listeners to hear about her intro and the evolution of Pelican's Leadership Academy. Just really clear that the recognition and recruitment of talent is important. Of course, the ability to develop and sharpen skills and capabilities necessary to win and, be effective in influencing. But it's also about the confidence that these mentors can instill in aspiring leaders who might not recognize their own talent. And anyone who listens to this conversation is just it's so clear that Laurie has that special sauce to really encourage leaders. So I'm excited for everyone to hear her story.
Oh, same. And Jane, thank you so much for nominating Laurie. I loved getting to meet her, and you did a wonderful job of walking us through these different highlights that really bring together what she does there at Pelican and what Pelican does there in Louisiana. So thank you again.
Yeah, well, I just hope everyone enjoys the conversation as much as we did.
Well, shall we get to it?
Yeah, let's go.
Laurie, thanks again for joining us here on Neighbors in the Network.
Thank you for having me. It's great to get to talk with y'all this morning.
What a bonus to be with you here after getting to see you in person in New Orleans last week. James and I were there with the SPN staff for our annual staff retreat. And it was just so fun to see some of your team that made the trek. The day after Pelican had its Solutions Summit, you must have been exhausted. How did it go?
The Solutions Summit was great, and it was wonderful to cap off that great experience with getting to drive to New Orleans the next day and see y'all, and just all the energy in the room and the excitement building for the annual meeting in New Orleans. We cannot wait. Our summit was a terrific event, but we were kind of glad to check that box and be able to focus fully on the annual meeting. So everyone needs to plan to be in New Orleans in August. It's going to be a very special event.
And we didn't even pay her to say that.
Well, Daniel might have paid me.
I want to share a little bit just with the audience who may not be familiar about this concept of durable freedom infrastructure that State Policy Network and many of its affiliates really exist to create and deploy. What that means is state-fueled freedom movements that have the infrastructure and the capabilities that are necessary not only to win, even in tough political climates, but to sustain those wins and defend them so that they're lasting and the impact is felt for generations to come. Pelican is such a great example of an SPN affiliate that has really bought into this concept of durable freedom infrastructure. I mean, you've got this litigation capability, incredible advocacy that you oversee, and I don't know how you do the government affairs and also manage Pelican's Leadership Academy. would love to just hear a little bit about the origin of that. What inspired it? Who is it for? How did you get involved in it?
So it's a great story, and a story that really has changed the trajectory of my life. Pelican. So I discovered the Pelican Institute in 2019 when I was a mom with kids who had reached high school and college age, and had always been interested in politics and government and good policy, and finally felt like I had the opportunity to pursue some of my interests. And so just, very naively stood in my front yard with some friends and decided I'm going to knock on doors and I'm going to win a seat in the state legislature. And during that process, I had ideas. I certainly read a lot, listened to a lot of podcasts, watched the news. I was one of those, engaged, active, citizens who was trying to constantly educate herself. But when I was a candidate running for office, I realized I didn't have all the ideas, or even the best ideas in my own mind and my own thoughts. And then I needed to find expert policy papers, expert opinions. I needed to find things to build a platform off of, and that is how I found the Pelican Institute website. And so read all those blogs and all those white papers voraciously, and used those papers to build my platform, and then built my website, launched my campaign website, and within 24 hours, Allie Rao, many of y'all know Allie, long-term Pelican employee, reached out and said, "Hey, this information reads a lot like the Pelican Institute's policy positions." And of course, I was like, "Oh my gosh," because it is. Like, I love y'all. And so, crazy enough, she lived in my neighborhood just a few blocks away. So, ended up running by her house, and that was really, how it all started. My relationship with Pelican. That was not a successful campaign, which is always, that's disappointing. That's sad. That it's hard to run an unsuccessful campaign. But within a few weeks of finishing up that campaign, Allie reached out and said, "Hey, Pelican is starting this new thing called the Pelican Leadership Academy, and I'd like to see you apply." So I applied and was accepted into the Leadership Academy. So the first year, 2020 was the first year of the academy. I was in the first class, and wow, I mean, what a great experience! That experience is really what kept me engaged and involved in public policy, in running for office, and in serving, in the public sphere. Without Allie making that call, and letting me know that, there was a place for me in this movement, I would have probably gone back to just, being a mom, working at a school, keeping up with politics, and just sitting on the sidelines. So Pelican was absolutely 100% my doorway into being civically active, and I'm super grateful for it. Fast forward, ran for state legislature. Was in the class in 2020, and during that time was asked to run for city council. I ran for city council and I won. So I have the distinction of being the first Pelican Leadership Academy participant to be elected to office. And so that was kind of cool, pretty exciting. And then ran for state legislature again, and was not successful the second time either, which is a little bit hard to take, but it's a little easier to lose the second time. You know how to recover from it. And then got the same call again from Allie. Hey, we're looking at a government affairs position, and it's something you ought to consider applying for. And I applied for it, got the job, and then a few months later, after I started working for Pelican, Daniel called me and said, Daniel Erspalmer, our CEO, called and said, "Hey, so would you be willing to lead the Pelican Leadership Academy?" And I was 100% yes. I cannot. This is the most exciting thing of all. This is the best part of the job. Love doing government affairs, but just over the moon excited to get to provide the experience for others that was provided for me.
It's so incredible, and I love you mentioning Allie Rao's part in this too, because here we are, you started having this passion about public service and wanting to give back to your community. You got involved with the Leadership Academy. Now you work at Pelican. And meanwhile, Allie, who worked at Pelican, now serves in Governor Landry's office or in his staff. It's just so important that State Policy Network and its partners continue this talent recognition and recruitment. People make moves, and the more friends that we can have in different communities, levels of government, it's so exciting to see just more friends, new allies, and people to support us in this fight for freedom.
Absolutely. And look, Allie was a critical part of getting the Leadership Academy started. One of our roles in this movement is identifying talent, and I think really calling it, talent and interest out of people when they maybe don't even see it themselves. And I think that to me is the part of the Pelican Leadership Academy that's so exciting. It's meeting people who are interested, who care, who just need to be connected. People who just have this gut feeling that we can do better, we can do more, things need to head in a different direction, but don't know how to harness that energy, how to harness that intellect to really move the needle in their community. And the Pelican Leadership Academy, was really formed to help people develop that and move from there. Now, Allie and Daniel working together are the ones who, kicked it off, who came up with the idea, kicked it off, and recruited the first, I guess it was about 20 people in the first class. They looked at, people who had run for office before, people who were involved in, party politics, people who had reached out or were engaged, on social media, to build that first class. And since then, we built our classes very much in the same way. The exciting thing that has happened for us at the 5-year mark, and now we're in our 6th class, we're leading our 6th class right now, is our Pelican Leadership Academy participants. They are now recruiting for us. At the Solution Summit that was last week, I had 4 people walk up and say, "Hey, I brought a friend with me to your conference because I want them to be in the Pelican Leadership Academy next year." So it's not really scouring anymore, looking for people. Our PLA participants, our PLA alumni are now recommending the experience to friends. And the other really, I think, cool thing is that it's intergenerational. We have everything from young people who just graduated from college who know that they want to work in politics, on campaigns. They want to work for, a state senator or a state rep. They want to be, this is the job they want to be in. All the way to people who have either just retired or who are considering retiring in the next couple of years, and finally have some freedom to engage in this movement, to engage civically in a way that maybe, their life circumstances haven't allowed them to. And this program gives everybody really that level playing field of information, of knowledge, of who to call, how this ecosystem works, so that they can engage and move forward in a way that is right for their time of life, their interest level, and their ability to participate. And that can be, like I said, everything from working in politics, running for office, or goodness gracious, being active on social media, sending letters to the editor, and truthfully, we know sometimes the most important thing that happens is being that person who, right before the elections happen, everybody reaches out to. Hey, I don't understand this constitutional amendment. Can you tell me, do you know anything about these candidates? Those people who are just boots on the ground in their community and advocating for great people and great policies. Those people are having impacts that we probably are never able to fully measure, but it's so encouraging to know that they are out there.
Laurie, longtime listeners might remember Ali is an early guest here on Neighbors in the Network, and I'm going to link in the video description or the podcast description so that people can check out. That was a great interview. But I love how you're talking now about impact that you can't measure. But tell me, sometimes you can't measure it because it's so great. But any stories that stand out about some of the impact that these graduates from the Leadership Academy have had in communities there at Louisiana?
Absolutely. So we have a number of elected officials. I mean, like I said, we're in our 6th class right now. We already have 4 Pelican Leadership Academy graduates who have been elected to the state legislature. We have several that have been elected to local office. And now what we're seeing is people who are already serving on a city council or serving on a school board, they're coming to us to be a part of the PLA class to prepare them for future political activities. What we're also seeing is local level people want to engage with the Pelican Institute and the Pelican Leadership Academy to connect with their state government. I think it's really easy for municipal government, school boards, and state government to get disconnected from each other, but yet there's a tremendous impact, especially philosophically. So that has been really fascinating to see that people are taking the philosophies, the political ideas that we're espousing at the state level, and they're bringing those ideas home, which I think bodes well for the future. Bodes well for the future of Louisiana. We have had young people. We have a young man who was in my class in 2020 who has gone on to work for Fire. We've got people at the Reason Institute. We're really launching people not only across Louisiana but throughout the state. And the other thing we are seeing is that we have members, Pelican Leadership Academy members, who then go on to serve in RPACs, which are Republican Parish Executive Committees, and on the state central committee, and really finding that they are also in those places, in those spaces, they're coalescing with each other and actually kind of creating little Pelican caucuses, which is great to see. I think the other thing that we see happening is, especially with the young people who are interested in working in government, in politics, the Pelican Leadership Academy kind of begins a very long-standing mentorship program. So a lot of the people who've gone through maintain relationships with those of us on staff. Daniel is exceptional at mentoring these young people. And so now I think we have about 10 people who've gone through Pelican Leadership who are actively working for state government, who were scooped up by the Landry administration in a variety of roles. And that is tremendous. So we maintain those relationships. They check back in with us. We find people will say, "Hey, I don't understand this issue. Can you explain to me, what's Pelican's stand on this? Or we want to run something by y'all and just make sure that our North Star on this is true and the way it needs to be." Pelican is definitely moving the needle in Louisiana in a lot of different ways. And,
Wow.
and I would argue, that the Leadership Academy and our Leadership Academy graduates are a big part of that.
Congratulations. Amazing. This Leadership Academy sounds like it's having huge impact in your communities there in Louisiana. Do you have any advice for other SPN affiliates that might want to make something like this type of impact in their state?
Absolutely. I would say call me, email me, reach out. We would love to share with you our curriculum, how we've gone about building our classes. And I would say start today. When you talk about durable freedom infrastructure, it's people, right? It's people. And this Leadership Academy and the work we do, it is long-term work. It's also slow work. So we, sixth class, I think 99 people now, maybe a little less, 97 people have been involved. We've had 79 that have graduated and then another 18 that are in the class this year. We're not running a boot camp that lasts a weekend. We are not just putting people through a 3-hour lecture or a roundtable. We are building relationships with people who are philosophically, ideologically aligned, And then we're keeping those relationships. We're fostering those relationships for long-term impact. So if you don't have this type of program, I would tell you, start today. Everything worth doing is hard, and it's also slow, and you got to get going. But don't try to set up some perfect ideal for yourself about the way it should look. Just get going. We can give you some basic starting tools to operate with, and then you can develop your own program and what works best for your community and your network, as you go along. But I think we've got a really good baseline that we can start you off with, and prepare for the whole spectrum. I've talked with other people who have programs that are aimed at a certain age or a certain point of life. We're taking people pretty much wherever you are and giving you the tools to go in whatever direction you choose to go in. But also, I think one of the things that our Pelican Leadership Academy alumni would tell you is the relationships that you make. So the people that I was in a class with in 2020, I still run into them, collaborate with them, work alongside them, pretty much every week. There's a rare week. I'm on vacation if I don't end up talking to someone that I was in that class with. And just the experience of finding out that there are other people who care the way you care, who want to engage, and who want to work alongside you, that energy and that synergy is just tremendous. And I think that kind of energy and those kind of relationships are truly what's going to be transformative for our movement, in coming decades. This program is truly planting seeds, and we expect to see mighty oaks rise up.
Well, I think you are already well on your way with just the examples you've already provided about where some of your alums have gone on to, whether in the state legislature or just getting more involved in the community. It's just so incredible. I love what you said about durable freedom infrastructure being people-powered. I think that is just a beautiful expression and so true. One of the things State Policy Network does is convene and connect state and local leaders. So we really just want to provide a space for like-minded people to collaborate effectively and share good ideas and help those good ideas spread in their home state and beyond. And one of the ways that we do that is through peer groups and working groups, where we convene senior leaders, various levels of folks at state-based affiliates, and you and I are both members of SPN's Government Affairs Senior Leaders peer group, and it's just been such a joy to see you participate in that over the past year. I'm curious, could you reflect on your experience? For folks who might not know, we have, more than 15 members in this group. We've got government affairs senior leaders from California to Georgia to Maine, and we meet monthly and talk about tactics and strategies, roadblocks that folks are hitting in their state capitals, communicating messages with lawmakers. And it's just incredible to see what comes out of those conversations. I'd love to hear how that experience has been for you.
Absolutely. Jane, it's been great getting to know you as well. I've loved every minute of it. So this was a significant career change for me. I had worked in private schools for 17 years doing fund development, admissions, communications, board management, board governance. And so all of a sudden going to government affairs at a policy institute was quite a plot twist for my life, but a welcome plot twist. Really, I keep telling people, I got my dream job. Like I never even, I got my dream job. So, but very much like fund development, government affairs, you got to know a lot about a lot, and it can be really, really, really overwhelming. Having the government affairs peer group and those monthly phone calls. Truthfully, it was just like being thrown into the deep end of the pool, which was good, which was what I needed. It's people who have deep subject matter knowledge, who've been in been boots on the ground for a long time. And an hour-long call, my brain would be just swirling afterwards because the amount of information that I picked up about, how people interact with their policymakers, with their legislators, how, what was happening in different states, what issues were emerging, how framing those issues. I've learned a tremendous amount. I have to say, the first few calls, I was like, I don't know that I should have taken this job. I might not be able to do it, right? Like, you always have that moment like, oh, am I in over my head? But just sticking with it, becoming fluent, still working to become fluent in all the issues that we're facing. And look, the landscape is constantly changing, right? I mean, we're just having, monumental change all the way from the federal government, even down here in Baton Rouge, local government has had a significant change recently. So it's constantly learning. I have to say, with the Government Affairs peer group, kind of the moment that everything came together for me with that group was when we went to our in-person, our summit meeting last fall, and being able to be in the same room with these people that I had been listening to on phone calls and watching on Zoom. It just makes a difference when you get in person, right? I mean, you can, I don't know, I guess, I was born in the 1900s, and I just need to be in the room with people. I need to read body language and just have that personal experience. But that really helped solidify, kind of make me gel with the group, got a better understanding. And it's so, it's so encouraging. And there's a certain amount of peace you have knowing that you've got this group of people who've been there, they've done that, they've got the T-shirt. They don't want you to stress out. Just call and they'll tell you how they handled that situation, what they're doing right now, and they can give you wisdom and advice to save you time, effort, and heartbreak. So I don't have enough to say about the peer groups. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in this world without having a peer group to lean on. I can say that.
That's incredible. And I think now we have actually 25% of the entire network actually is participating in an SPN peer group, which is just really incredible. This is opt-in. People are really just, what you're saying is true. People want that community. I wish we could meet in person every month, but I agree. Just having that annual FaceTime is really wonderful. And one of the things I love is that we have people from totally different political climates in their state. So we've got, the purple Michigan and Pennsylvania members. We've got red trifecta states like Louisiana and Georgia. And then we've got California. It's like, everyone kind of teases each other and will say, oh yeah, that might work for you in Louisiana. But then it's also interesting to see, like, sometimes having total political partisan alignment creates new problems and fractures in advocacy. So really just being able to have those real off-the-record conversations. And one of my favorite examples, which from our text thread that is just always fun and blowing up, Fred Birnbaum, our government affairs rep in Idaho with the Idaho Freedom Foundation, texted our thread within minutes of Idaho passing its Universal Parental Tax Credit Act before it even broke on the news. And Nicole Fox, who was testifying that afternoon for the Platt Institute in Nebraska, immediately was like, this is awesome. Thanks. I'm walking into a committee hearing. I can use this as leverage. I mean, that is just gold for folks who are testifying in committee or talking with lawmakers. I love having that exchange of information and ideas, just so powerful.
And just to be able to celebrate your win with people who know the hours, the days, the months, the years, the sleepless nights that have gone into those wins, that's special as well, I think.
I 100% can see that. You're building, it's like a community within this community that really is able to support each other. Are there any stories or examples that stand out of a tactic that you've heard from one of your peers that has really worked there in Louisiana?
I don't think I've been involved in the work long enough to have that story. What I can tell you is just the incredible encouragement that it is when we're heading into we desperately need legal reform. I mean, it's just the hottest topic in Louisiana right now. Now it's really kind of presenting itself as insurance reform, but underlying that, it's really legal reform. And hearing from Georgia, like that, we're in the middle of that right now, and what they're doing, and being able to watch, being able to connect with people in Florida and understand what they have done recently. I think it's it's being connected with people who are in the same battle, but maybe not in the same stage. That really helps you. They can help you predict what the opposition is going to look like. They can help you predict, what potential success could be, given the current legal environment or the current, judicial environment. I think that has been just that touchstone, and be able to measure yourself against what other states are doing, and really challenge yourself and encourage yourself based on what other states are doing as well. Never feeling like you're alone. And I loved what Jane was saying about, just the wide spectrum of states and political environments out there. So there are days that I'll use a red state to encourage myself, and there are other days I'll think, our friends in the blue states, God bless them, they just don't give up. Like, their tenacity, their long-suffering tenacity is an inspiration. I'm like, if California's still hitting it hard, I can certainly press on here with the challenges that I'm facing. So,
or Jim Long with the Illinois Policy Institute, and Lance Christensen with California Policy Center. I mean, they're often commiserating with each other. It's part inspirational, part a relief sometimes, I would imagine, for those of you in more favorable climates. But
and they're happy warriors. They're happy. They don't give up. They've got a great sense of humor, a great outlook on it. Just terrific encouragement for the rest of us who may hit minor speed bumps.
Well, and because both of their organizations have that, really robust, durable freedom infrastructure, even though they are just up against it at every level, they're still seeing incremental success, which is just incredible, against all odds. So I think that is part of that inspiration that I find from the group. And, I think also just the fact that we have at least 3 off the top of my head, former state lawmakers who are members of the group, former candidates like yourself, and then people who have, like you, totally different backgrounds before joining the network. Like, we have someone who is a nutritionist before, had a private practice. It's like, what an interesting perspective to bring to this group, and just to be able to share different messaging strategies that they've found that work in their states.
Absolutely. Especially in California, I find it so encouraging, the work that's being done. I mean, they're planting seeds out there, and I think we're starting to see some of those seeds take root, which is exciting. So it gives you hope for the future. And look, you just know, I have to continually remind myself, this is a marathon that never ends. I can remember being in my early 20s, working in the state Senate here, seeing and really seeing the issues and what the fixes were at that point. And then life happened, kids happened, different career happened, and then dialing back in my late 40s and realizing, goodness gracious, the challenges that we faced, in the 90s, there's still the challenges that we face today. And now in my mid-50s, I'm starting to wonder, okay, what can we achieve before I'm too old to do this work anymore? Everything seemed possible in my 20s. Now I'm like, oh man, I'm probably looking at a 20-year timeline. But I keep having to remind myself, it's a marathon. And what the work that we do today, we're not going to see the culmination of it, right? There's never an end to the work. At some point, we're going to hand off that baton. And so to me, the Pelican Leadership Academy and working with the Government Affairs Peer Group, it's just that marathon with that baton and running this leg of the race as well as you can so that you position the people who are going to come next to keep the work going. And, it's just an honor to get to be a part of the team for this season. I'm very grateful.
I love that, Laurie. And I am totally convinced that with your energy and optimism, the Pelican State is going to be well served for generations to come, truly.
It's an honor to get to do this work and to work alongside great people, Jen. So looking forward to working even more closely moving forward in the future to see what we can do to continue to improve Louisiana and really affect change nationwide.
Wonderful. Well, Laurie, how can our listeners find out more about Pelican?
Probably the best way is to go to our website. So you can search Pelican Institute, or you can type in pelicanpolicy.org. And we're on all the social media channels and really active. So we definitely have an X account, Pelican Policy Institute. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or you can give us a call. So we're on the web, pelicanpolicy.org. Look us up, call us, or truthfully, the thing you need to do is come to New Orleans in August. Our whole team will be there. We will be there with Mardi Gras colors on and beads around our neck. So look for us. And we can have a cocktail and talk about how to help you get your own leadership academy started or your own legal institute started. The team is here and ready to support our friends and neighbors in the movement in any way that we can.
Well, you heard it from Laurie, folks. I'll drop a link in the description. Come visit us in New Orleans this August at annual meeting. Laurie, thank you again. It was wonderful to get to chat with you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks so much.
And thank you all for joining us here on Neighbors in the Network. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Neighbors in the Network, a podcast by the State Policy Network that explores state-based solutions, federalism, and public policy through insightful conversations with incredible individuals working to empower local governance and liberty for all.